My name's Rene. I'm a PhD student at QT. I've been working for the last 3 years on morphing software, and this table is one application of the morphing software that I've been working on. Basically, what it does is it's got a source pattern and a target pattern, so notes, melodies, drum patterns, anything like that, and it basically analyzes it and creates a transition from one source to any target. So when it comes to the Morph table, each of these different parts is represented by a cube, and on one side of the table we've got the source, and on the other side of the table you've got the target. So one cube could be the drums. This is the drum, and when I put it on, the drums will start playing, and if I move it over to the left, the music will sound more like the music of the source. If I move it over to the right, it'll sound much more like the music of the target. And when I move it up, there'll be more effects added, like delay, reverb, echo, and that sort of stuff. And then when I move it down, it'll reduce those effects. And when I flip it, it'll actually change the morph for the drums. And so while the morph for the drums is playing there, I could put the bass in and do the same things with the bass. And so I can flip them independently. So I can mix and match which track's being morphed, and I can also morph between each particular part individually.
The project overall is looking at adaptive music and generative music and ways it can be used. So we've looked at applications in computer games, and we've looked at applications for live techno performances and DJ performances. And so the morphing table is another use of the same kinds of technologies that we've been using in the other parts of the project. The morph table is different from the previous context because it's about social interaction, and you have several people controlling the algorithm rather than just one. In the DJ situation, there's only one person controlling the technology. In the computer game one, there's usually only one unless it's a multiplayer game, and they're not directly controlling it, they're only indirectly controlling it. In the morphing table, we've got several people controlling it, so it's kind of a social ensemble sort of performance application of the technologies.
Currently, these kinds of interfaces, these social interfaces, don't really exist on a broader level. They might be found in experimental music gigs occasionally. But from what I've seen, that's also just performer interfaces. It's not really installation context or open to a wider audience. Part of the interface, as far as I've seen it, is to see how people interact with it and also discover the musical possibilities. So we're trying to limit the amount of instruction that's given to basic functionality and then leave room for people to explore and experiment with the interface itself.
What I'd really like to see is DJs or producers using this. Instead of crossfading, they'll be morphing from one track to another. I reckon that'd be really cool. Because then it'd be a new kind of style of mixing. And it'd be more compositional. I'd need to develop a lot of user-friendliness, first of all, so that people can actually use the software and remember the functionality. Because at the moment it's research software, so I'm pretty much the only person who knows how to use it. But if I paid some attention to, what people actually want and ease of use, then there's some presets that work pretty well, and anyone can just use it by pressing a button. Well, the morphing table, as it stands, could be applied in nightclubs quite easily. If the legs were sawn off, it could be applied in kids' venues. It could be in the foyer of corporate offices. It could be actually a composition device that people use. Sometimes it can be more inspiring if you're working with a tangible musical interface. So certain composers might find that useful. And yeah, you could use your imagination.
tell us a bit about how this project's applying research into practical activities.
Basically, this project applies research into practical activities because it does. So there.